act like a thug, and that's exactly what Zelensky
like a thug.
portrayed himself.
Trump ran on ending the war. He said day one.
All the Republican senators could talk about is what he wore. This man is literally trying to defend his nation.
Let's jump back into a CNN panel about Zelensky and Trump and Russia, the peace talks, the argument, where Scott Jennings and others obviously have to say their propaganda lines. You got to get those MAGA talking points off, so be sure to like the video. Nothing helps it get out to more people more. Nothing helps the video and our channel grow more. Subscribe if you haven't already, because we'd love to have you, and we'll be back with the fact checks and the context that is very much needed.
And he just couldn't bring himself to just sign the papers and head out. And so, look, I think Trump ran on ending the war. He said day one. We're not at day one right now, but he wants to end the war as soon as possible. He has managed to engage Putin in some kind of conversation. He thought he was engaging Zelensky, and then Zelensky goes out today and says, oh, we're very, very far away from ending the war. The exact wrong thing to do. I don't know who he's getting his political advice from, but he needs to stop listening. It sounds like maybe Chris Murphy and other Senate Democrats. If you want to understand how to deal with Donald Trump, those are the wrong clowns to consult with. Maybe for balloon animals at a child's birthday party, but not for geopolitical advice.
I wonder why Zelensky wouldn't want to just sign whatever Trump is trying to hand him and then just leave and accept it. You know, Trump, who had just spent weeks pretending Ukraine started the war, you know, the sovereign democracy that was invaded, and that Zelensky is some kind of a dictator because he didn't hold an election in the middle of martial law while they're being invaded, and a lot of their citizens or like voting population are refugees and this and that. And he, of course, wants to come and speak diplomacy for his country, which why should Putin get that chance and not Zelensky? Why are we being nicer, having more conversations, private conversations nonetheless, of which Trump won't disclose the context of, with the authoritarian dictator who invaded our ally, just to then publicly besmirch our ally and say, hey, we can't really help you. It makes no sense. And as to Scott's point at the end, I mean, sure, like Republicans could definitely teach you how to coddle Trump's balls better than Democrats.
I think Donald Trump is using leverage, as he should. He wants to get Zelensky to the negotiating table. He wants to get a ceasefire. He wants to stop the killing. I think those are all good things. The fact that Putin might benefit from it, I don't think that's going to be the case, because I think, first of all, the EU nations are going to step in. They're going to fill the void. And I think at some point, Zelensky has to have an end game. If he thinks he's going to defeat Russia, he's delusional. His end game has to be to get to the table, get the best deal he can make, and that would start with a ceasefire and not going to the White House dressed like a schlub. I mean,
okay, we're back to this again.
Well, you know what? When you go to see your banker, you don't wear a suit like that.
The United States is a banker, but is what you're saying.
Anyone who speaks like this guy should never be taken serious with any political analysis ever. The idea that the right pushes that Zelensky is the one we have to force to the negotiating table. He wants war and not peace, as if people get slaughtered, like as if Putin is the good faith arbiter here, as if Putin, the authoritarian dictator, is the one that wants peace in this situation, the one who invaded, the one who started the war is the one who wants peace, right? Like, Zelensky just has experience with Putin. He's made deals with him before. Putin broke those deals with no hesitation, with no enforcement mechanisms, meaning those deals didn't save the Ukrainian people. So repeating that same process, Zelensky already understands doesn't save his people. It just gives Putin what he wants, which is why Putin wants more of that. Keep the land you've gotten so far, sign another weak deal so you can break it when you choose, and then take more land and repeat. And Trump is willing to give him exactly that, which is the only reason that he's at the table. To the extent Trump has leverage in this conversation, it should so obviously be exerted over the dictator, over the invader, over Putin, to get him to the table in good faith, willing to actually make concessions. Obviously, Ukraine isn't going to get everything it asks, but Russia shouldn't get everything it asks either. Not exerting the leverage over the democracy, just trying to keep its sovereignty because it gave up its nuclear arsenal on the agreement that we would help defend it.
Act like a thug, and that's exactly what Zelensky portrayed himself.
He is a president of a country that has been invaded by a very strong aggressor in Russia, and to come to the United States that has for so many years been an unwavering ally to Ukraine, to be berated as if they were the ones that invaded Russia. And then all the Republican senators could talk about is what he wore. This man is literally trying to defend his nation against Russia. And what we understand about him defending Ukraine against Russia is also to make sure other European nations won't be invaded. The saddest part about all of this, in addition to Russian media praising Donald Trump, which, my God, I can't believe that we can't even agree that that is horrible, is how emotional and petty and angry and aggressive Donald Trump was. I mean, I literally think about, I work for a lot of women candidates. Folks say that we shouldn't have women in leadership positions because they'll be too emotional in making decisions. Well, Donald Trump and J.D. Vance, they were a little too emotional in these decisions and these conversations and getting us further away from a ceasefire.
And how far America has fallen, where it would have been unthinkable 2 decades ago, and hell, even 1 decade ago, from either party, for an ally who was being invaded, attacked, bombed, whatever, to come to America in good faith, trying to help protect their country, who has went as far to like be on the front lines, be involved in the conflict themselves. And the response when he arrives would be to berate them, make fun of their outfit, yell at him, and then kick him out. That would have been career ending for a politician 10 years ago. Now it's cheered on by half of Congress and a sizable portion of America. It's insane to think that MAGA no longer wants us to be that shining city on the hill, as if we're not there, that the hill just doesn't exist, as if that mantle doesn't just get taken by China or Russia and then they gain that leverage over us, gain coalition and allies from us, and then are eventually put in more of a position to attack or exert power, sanctions, whatever over us, the way that we currently do to them. But I mean, hey, at least let's make America first, except, we're invading Panama and Gaza and Greenland and doing nothing for the Americans, and we're still signing billions for Israel, but trans people can't play in badminton anymore.